Hello. Packing the books out of the man shed. This place needs to be emptied and cleaned. It's only a good place to keep books if I'm going to be in here on a regular basis, which I am not. I have not been in here on a regular basis for a while. I'll prove it. No, that fell off, but that was a wasp nest on my Natty G's. So, the topic of I had a personality change when that started when I bought my house, and fairly large amount of people that have mentioned it on the internet and in real life. Most recently, a friend that I hadn't seen in a really long time. Said that my mannerisms had changed, and I believe they're correct. So what happened? A, I don't know. B, I noticed. So theory is that that maybe that I was projecting like who I wanted to be or how I wanted to feel, like fake it till you make it. Because think about when I first started making videos. I got the tiny house. I started my career, and met a girl, real nice girl, and we were going to go on vacation to Hawaii, and I'd always had like regular cameras, and they're bad, the film goes bad, the negatives go bad, whole works. So I bought a digital camera because I was making some money now, and so I went to Hawaii and started to film accidentally, and I'm like, holy cow, this is a video camera. And then I thought I could make videos. And then I thought I could film myself. But my filming myself was a form of self-improvement. I think I was pretty honest about that with myself and everybody else. And that I was trying to form thoughts without pauses. I was trying to respond to a lot of different inputs, ideas, concepts, theories, and swinging out of my league a lot of times with philosophy and whatnot, just to try to activate my mind. And like another one of my friends said, I said, hey, have you seen my videos? And they're like, yeah, you kind of do a lot of laughing. Kind of like that. And I'm like, well, a lot of times I watch those movies right before I go to bed, those videos of me laughing, and I say to myself, my life isn't that bad. I'm out the Delta with tequila. But then, what is my life at this point in time? I was in a box that I built myself on a trailer. It was 13 feet long, 6 feet wide, about 8 feet tall, and on the street. So I was living illegally. I was right by a high concentration of low-income housing, so the police not only were there quite often, they'd actually block the roads there quite often, and it wasn't completely uncommon for them to question somebody by pushing up against the tiny house for some reason. Probably a low-key form of harassment. So the things that I was ignoring, or at least not posting about, because there really wasn't much value of it, is the difficulty of living in a confined space, living illegally, the insecurity of it all, and I think it was almost like I was swimming to shore, man, because like right when I went to go buy this house, I was at the end of my rope. I was going to go get an apartment, and I mentioned that in front of a guy that I barely know. And he said, you could take a loan off your 401k for a house down payment, don't you? I'm like, no, I did not know that. And it turned out that he said that at the exact same time that I had just enough money there to qualify to pull out a loan that was just enough money to get a down payment, that was just enough money to buy this house, which was just on the edge of when the housing market shot through the roof. Like my house tripled in value right off the bat. So I slide into home base here, man, and I was on my last legs. I'd gone as hard and as far as I could. I was going to go back to apartment living, being in one of those like high density, low income apartment complexes. And what a nightmare. But does it seem like I'm happier, any happier in the house? For the first year, I was afraid I was going to lose the house, not for any rational reason. I've been homeless twice in my life, despite my both times working full time. And the first time I was working full time and got extra side jobs. The second time it happened, I was working 3 jobs. One particular job, I once worked 48 hours with like an 8-hour break, and to sleep in my van on the property of the work site. So I was on my last gasp. Like this house was finally putting a hand on shore after being out to sea for a long time. So did I drop the facade, or because the other thing that took place, in order to qualify for the loan, I had to go full time, and my job, my career is unpleasant. In every aspect, physically, mentally, emotionally, it's all unpleasant. And but I always got to do the caveat. It afforded me a house, right? Right. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with my job. I'm saying my job is not the healthiest job that I've ever had in my life. It's like teaching martial arts or teaching yoga, or when I was a bike messenger. Those were healthy jobs. This job I have now is it's an adult job, man. They pay you a lot of money to do something that is unpleasant, and you do it year after year, and you get more and more money. So it's a golden spider web. A couple other joys in life that I kind of stopped. Like right when I got the house, actually, it was right when Aquila started having difficulty spending a full day at the Delta. He wanted to. I'd have to force him to come back to the car, and then he'd be super sore the next day and having trouble walking, but wanting to get right on back to the Delta, which I understood. And I took him to the Delta. I just made our walks shorter. We broke the walks down, like a short walk in the morning, a short walk in the afternoon or evening. I did all I could, obviously. But his quality of life started to diminish. My quality of life diminished just because I had less of it, less life to live. Between going to work full time, my responsibility was Aquila, which was a joy. Then what's left? And then not much. And that's okay. It's the price you pay for love. But living a life of servitude in a way for Aquila, and I don't regret any of it. And living a life of servitude for my house, which means that I'm away from this house quite easily 9.5 hours a work day. Simply that. Like, could be longer. Doesn't leave much, for you. I try to do all I can with like vacations or weekends, or those times where I was going to work and then driving out to the forest and camping and then driving into work the next day. Putting in extra effort to make life worthwhile and wonderful. Also, I'm getting older and got less energy, less strength. I was moving these boxes of books out of here, and I started taking one box at a time. I was stacking them up. I'm like, screw this. Take multiple trips, because my back's been tweaked out for 5 weeks now. I'd always believed in partnership. I'd always believed that I was going to find that special woman, and it seemed like as I got older, each woman I was dating became more and more difficult to even reach what I would consider the minimum of mutual concessions. It doesn't have to be my way, it doesn't have to be your way, but it has to be some sort of, meeting in the middle. Just some sort of like, got to just keep it together, work together, stay focused on solutions. Get a problem, solution. Half moment of a problem, immediately let's get all our resources directed towards a solution. Um, let's be supportive, compliant, a source of refuge, and just things go well. Just have like the most important thing is have it go well. Like I said to one lovely lady I was dating, it's like, kind of pretend like you're in a job interview at all times. Like if you're in a job interview, you'll keep it together. Like you will maintain focus and a sense of professionalism, a sense of like, I want this to go well. I want to make a good impression. I'm goal oriented. I'm thinking about my future. Where do I want to be in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years? I got the answer. You should try to be on your best behavior, when you're dating somebody. And as I was getting older, I was finding less and less of it. Like, it seemed to be harder and harder, like more and more of a goddamn battle. Instead of like, we're getting older, man. Let's try to take care of each other. Let's try to make things easier for each other. Let's try to fill each other's lives with some joy. It's not Sunday afternoon every single day. I don't want to deal with difficulties. I don't want to deal with problems. Not that. I want to deal with difficulties. I want to deal with problems because solving those makes you stronger. But then it just got to the point where I'm like, Jesus, fuck this. So I gave up on dating. I kind of gave up on my free time. Still working full time. Keela passed away, and I didn't know what to do with my life. I didn't know who I was. But all this has been like, this is all progressive. Like, there was that shock, that stressful shock when I bought the house. I think that was when people got to see, or even I got to see, how hard I was trying to keep up a facade. Not that it's not real. Not that I'm not a happy, go lucky, striving for the best kind of guy. Truth is a way of life. I want the best for everybody because I think that's best for me. I believe that it's very important for me to be a good person for everybody and myself. And then as I get into my 50s, 50 to 55, I just kind of like, I don't know if you call it midlife crisis, or just like you're just kind of looking around, taking stock. A lot of these books, as I'm loading down, that like these 5-gallon tubs of books. I haven't even read a lot of them, So like, what am I doing if I'm not sitting in here reading books all the time? What's going on? What difference am I making in my own life? What difference do I make in other people's lives? It's great to have a house. It's great to have shelter, and I'm starting to love taking care of it. Actually, that blue dome over there, that's a fishing shelter that goes around a hot tub that I bought, and it is a joy to come out here every night and climb in there and hot tub. Well, it was until I tweaked my back, and now getting in and out of that hot tub is kind of risky. Don't want to end up in a hot tub and you can't get out. I'll tell you that much. Anyway, there needs to be some sort of solution. You can't have, I can't be me, like losing mannerisms. And one of my friends said something about that, almost like losing my sense of humor. It's not what they said, but a sense of joy lost, a sense of the irreverent and the silly. and wanting to make people laugh, you know. So, you know, I'm working on it. And I don't know if I have all the answers. I don't know. I know that like one of the things that went wrong with me is I had such a backlog of pain and suffering and emotional distress. That's why I made that video about being kicked out at 17 years old. Um, Here I am 55 and that still really bothers me. You know, like someone was pointing out, you know, is that legal? No, of course not. It's not. Of course not. It's not illegal. like, it's almost like the matter of fact way I put it. Like, oh, you know, so they kicked me out. It's like they broke the law, and you know, they broke their responsibilities as a parent. You know, you shouldn't be legally required to be loyal to your child till 18. You should really want to be loyal to your child for the rest of your child's life. You know, like that's why you have children, right? To like, at the very least, to make life want more rich, to add more love to your life. You don't create a child to put him out on the street because you don't like the fact that he was at Bible study. So I could hear that anger in my voice. Like, and I've been carrying that with me till I was 17. It's like, it's not good. But you know, that's the thing with PTSD. Like, I've also experienced more violence in my life than I've only met a few people that have experienced as much violence as I have, and that should have been like not just a red flag, but one of those flares you shoot up from a life preserver, like floating in the ocean. Like, I was just kind of like, I was like, remember when I started figuring that out, like in my 30s, 30s or later. I can't remember when I became interested in how much violence have other people experienced. Like, talk to my friends or talk to coworkers and just kind of like get an idea, and like very little to none. And I'm like, Jesus, has not been my life at all. I've definitely been in more fist fights than anybody I've ever met, and I'm not a violent person at all. I don't strive to hurt people. I don't need to prove myself to anybody. A lot of that was I was doing security work, crowd management work, working in entertainment venues, working in bars. Some of it was just like, somehow, like, I don't know what vibe I give off, man, but it's like, I'm gonna go attack that guy. I'll give you an example. I was sitting down once knitting, and someone came over and challenged me to a fight. Basically, like, saying something about my manhood. I wasn't working. I wasn't doing security work. I think I was in a bar knitting and drinking a beer, and someone just came over, just offended as fuck, and challenged me to a fight. I'm like, say we did fight, like, so you either beat up the guy. I've told this story before. Now that I'm starting to come out, I remember telling it before. So you either beat up the guy that was knitting in a bar, or the guy knitting in a bar beats you up. Like, it's lose-lose. You see that, right? And just because I didn't respond with ego, he laughed and left. But who sees someone knitting and wants to go over there and kick his ass? What kind of fucking human being is that? But I've met way more than you believe possible. Just for whatever reason, not sure what kind of like weird signal I'm putting out, but it's like blood in the water. So I've probably had way more trauma than I've ever communicated, and I've also not addressed it. Way more trauma that should have been addressed that I've never addressed. Like that backlog of painful experiences, frustration, anger at life. Like, what the fuck's happening out there? It shouldn't be easy. It shouldn't be that hard. A guy should be able to go to a bar and just drink a beer and knit a scarf. You know, you should be able to get, you know, a girlfriend and say like, hey, listen, I'm just going to do whatever it takes to make you happy. Always going to be honest. I'm never going to say anything intending to make you angry. And if ever a problem pops up, my first idea will be not whose fault is it. It's our job together to find a solution. It should be easy. Like, going to work should not involve maybe having to go to the hospital, or maybe having to like going to see a doctor, having to go see a therapist, or like when I just most recently when that guy tried to take his own baby from the baby's mother, and the only thing stopping him was me getting in the way like a giant panicky seagull. um I left my shift without punching out. I got in my car and drove home. Like, that shouldn't be work. So obviously all these things that I don't think should be just are. So obviously, like, the dreamland I want to live in doesn't exist. So if I'm not trying to like I'm trying to attach my dreamland to other people and my business, my work, my career, even sometimes my friends, then I'm doing it wrong. I'm doing the insane thing of doing the exact same thing, expecting the best outcome, being shocked when people are like, "Why did you do that specifically to hurt me?" Like, well, because you didn't. Then you should have talked about that. If I upset you about something, the reason why you didn't say, "Hey, that you did that upset me," because I think that like I immediately would have said, "God damn, I'm sorry, and I'll never do it again," and mean it and be honest. Like, it's like the need for conflict, the need for moral superiority. It's like, well, I got to shut you down. I need to be, the one that tells you you're wrong. Like, why do you need that? Same thing with that guy that wanted to beat me up for knitting. Why did he need that? Yeah, I mean, fuck, you get like when I got my house, and maybe I thought things were going to be completely fucking different. When I got my house, maybe I'm like, well, this is it. It's going to be barbecues in the backyard and having people over and watching movies, and it'll be like getting to meet all my neighbors, like my neighbor right over there that parked on my lawn right when I moved in here, and I asked him not to, and he cussed at me every day for 2 solid years. My neighbor right there that parked in front of my house, parked broken down trucks in front of my house, had people hanging out in my own front yard in lawn chairs while he worked on their engine. So much trash in his backyard is blowing into my backyard. I'm out there raking up trash from this motherfucker. He finally just got evicted. Like, all the wonderful things that I thought were going to take place when I got the house is like, no, man, it's just a house. It's a really big, expensive apartment that just gives you a little bit of extra space on either side of the awful fucking people that you live next to. Why did they need to be awful? Guy parked on my own lawn, and when I said, hey, I'd really appreciate it if you didn't, he threatened me. He said, there's nothing, I'm going to do this, and there's nothing you can do to stop me. Fuck, who the fuck says that? So yeah, perhaps I thought things were going to be a little bit different, and perhaps that's what's kind of removed my mannerisms. It hasn't snuffed out my joy of life at all. It's made me just look like, well, I need to find something else. Everything I've thought until now, I think I have a good foundation. I think I have really good tools all around me. Camping gear, bicycling equipment, tons of fun books, a sense, even being back here, a sense, actually, that's why I love the man shed so much. This is the farthest point that any other house is close to me. I could talk as loud as I want in here, no one could hear me. I can't hear people knocking on my door, ignoring all the signs I put out there saying, like, no soliciting. Like, I sent away for another sign that was like, it's like a full sign. It says, like, do not knock on the door. Do not wake up the baby. Do not disturb the protective dog. Like, it's a long list of reasons why don't knock on my door. Fuck. All right, I think you get what I'm laying down. Sorry for being subtle.